CIA has a lot of payments probably that are going all over the world, as do many large organizations. And so, is that how you guys kind of use as a framework for all of technology, is like it can be a tool or it can be a weapon against us, and we want to be good at using it, but also understand how our enemies are using it against us?
Yeah. I mean, I mentioned, right, we use technology as a tool, right? And Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are another tool in the toolbox. It's also a target, right? So it's something we can use to, we can disrupt our adversaries' use of it. And we can use these technologies to collect more intelligence, to gather more information about them.
We took over on January 20th. The tariffs haven't kicked in yet. I know that, and I don't want this to happen, but I know that China is doing very poorly right now. I just saw some reports coming out, and I don't want that to happen to China. I like the president a lot, President Xi. I don't want it to happen. I was actually saddened to hear it, but they are getting absolutely hammered in China. And, they're sending boats, the biggest boats in the world, carrying cargo like nobody's ever seen before. These are the biggest boats in the world, biggest cargo ships in the world. And they're coming and they're turning around in the Pacific Ocean. They're doing a big U-turn and going back because they don't want the goods, because 145% tariff. But at a certain point, I hope we're going to make a deal with China. We're talking to China, but their factories are closing all over China because we're not taking their product. We don't want their product unless they're going to be fair with us. And that includes intellectual property and other things. There are a lot of things far beyond just buy, sell. So we'll see what happens. But, I was not, because somebody said, well, were you happy? I said, I am not happy. I want China to do well. I want every country to do well. But they have to treat us fairly.
Visa is announcing a new AI shopping tool at this product event they're hosting today here in San Francisco. It's going to let AI agents basically access your credit card information securely and then let them go ahead and shop and buy things on your behalf. You can think of agents, as I just mentioned, like AI assistants in a way. Visa is not going to be building its own agent. It's all happening on the back end. CEO Ryan McInerney told me avoiding fraud was one of the key reasons companies like OpenAI, Anthropic, Perplexity are now partnering with Visa. MasterCard and PayPal also rolled out something similar this week. Here's what McInerney told me about this boom we're seeing in AI shopping.
It's going to be a lot like self-driving cars. I think we're going to have the ability to be able to just, say whether it's groceries or a specific gift that I'm trying to buy, it's going to take for those people that want to take kind of the top of the shopping funnel out of their daily lives, it's just going to make it a lot easier. In general, kind of more efficient, more effective outcomes win in the world. And I think consumers will vote with their feet and they'll want their agents to go do a significant portion of their shopping with better outcomes.
Also announcing a way to make it easier to pay with cryptocurrency. And the CEO sounded bullish on the consumer after what was a mixed report for Visa yesterday. McInerney telling me consumer is, quote, resilient. He said they are not seeing any sort of slowdown in the spending data, even through April, despite some of the consumer sentiment numbers we've seen. But they are trying to game out different scenarios for what all the tariff uncertainty is going to mean for Visa's business. He said it is certainly uncertain. I thought was the line of the day, which a lot of companies can relate to.
Uber, Bitcoin, self-driving cars. Combine those three together and you have the self-owning taxi. A car that is a corporation that owns itself, pays for the car lease, the car insurance, and the gasoline from the revenues it makes, giving passengers a ride, and there's not a single human involved in that matter.
In fact, the agents we have for reviewing code, that usage has increased. And so I'd say maybe 20-30% of the code that is inside of our repos today in some of our projects are probably all written by software.
Basically saying that you think the best is over for US stocks.
No, Fred, I've been stating since the start of the year that my base case until proven wrong is that US equities reached an all-time peak of MSCI or Country World Index on the Christmas Eve last year. So I think it's an all-time peak in US dollar terms, just like Japan made an all-time peak as a percentage of world stock market capitalization at the end of 1989. But obviously I'm assuming part of that is a weakening dollar.
Right, but so is this on tariffs and some of the turmoil that we've seen, or this this is just more of a structural effect of the way the indices work?
No, this is a structural thing because, frankly, the US reached, I think, 67% of world market capitalization. This is extreme. Even if the US economy is doing well, 50% would be a high weighting. And we had all this talk of American exceptionism in the fourth quarter of last year, which was a sign of a massive top. We had S&P trading at an all-time peak of price to sales. The tariff noise is just an additional negative. So if Donald Trump really does go ahead with the tariffs, then clearly you should sell all these stocks today now. Now, there's still a chance that he backs off, but, the simple point is that tariffs are very bad news for everybody.
His push for the Pelosi Act, which would ban members of Congress from trading and holding stock. Senator Hawley joins us this morning. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
What do you think the chances are that this gets passed, and what kind of support do you feel like you have, and what kind of support do you think you still need?
Well, the support is bipartisan. It passed in the last Congress through the Homeland Security Committee, which was the first time ever in any Congress that a committee had actually passed legislation banning stock trading. And listen, in terms of support, you can't have better support than the President of the United States. And the President has endorsed now a stock trading ban for members of Congress. That's a huge boost. A lot of politicians run on this every year in their campaigns, then they don't want to vote for it. I'm going to give them the chance to vote for it.
Explain to the public exactly how this works. What is allowed, what is not allowed?
What is not allowed is the buying or selling of individual company stocks. What is allowed, if politicians want to have mutual funds, treasuries, so forth, they can do that. But they cannot own, they cannot buy or sell individual stocks of companies. They'll have 6 months to divest once the law goes into effect. Then there'll be annual certifications and very serious fines. I mean, currently, the problem with our current law is, of course, there's no ban on buying or selling. There are reporting requirements, but my observation is members of Congress violate those, blow through those all of the time. There are no serious penalties. My legislation puts serious penalties in place, disgorgement of all profits, plus an additional fine on top of that. No blind trust exceptions. You have to get rid of the securities. You can't hold on to them. Again, only treasuries, only mutual funds would be allowed.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And also, guys, make sure you go like and follow the TikTok. More videos to come. And we have pumped with the CIA. Yes, you heard that correct. And guys, we know with this technology, they'll use it for surveillance and collect the data. Remember, privacy is definitely the new gold in the fourth industrial revolution. And we have Trump on China. Says China is hurting. And we know American small businesses and American consumers are the ones that are hurting. China and the fourth industrial revolution is about to take a lot of their people out of poverty and bring them to the middle class. And it's going to be the opposite in America. Going to be going from middle class to poor. And we're already seeing that right now. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And guys, I wrote about it a long time ago. Talk about it all the time. Now we have Visa. And guys, remember, the big banks and big corporations have been funding crypto from the beginning. But Visa, new AI shopping tool. That's right, guys. AI agents use your credit card and get this shopping. And we know eventually they're going to be using crypto. And that's without a human involved. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. Remember, this is a plan. It moves in phases. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have Christopher Wood says U.S. stocks have peaked. And then he jokingly said, hey, you can sell them all. But we know the NWO stocks and cryptos are going to be set up for the fourth industrial revolution. If you're set up for what's about to come, you're going to be fine. Other than that, you're going to fall by the wayside. And what happens next? All of a sudden, we get another bill for Congress not to be able to buy stocks. Why is that, guys? Because they know a lot of these stocks are about to tank. Remember, guys, we've seen this movie before. And remember, the Crypto Teacher told you. And we have tariffs are used as a distraction for one. but then also the move in blockchain. Stop the U.S. citizens from being such big consumers, weaken the dollar, lower the debt, and then, of course, we get that China currency war and trade war, which we're getting right now. And again, this is a plan that moves in phases. And we know the U.S. has been in a recession since October of 2023. Every indication shows right now we're in a great depression. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have Amazon investing $4 billion in small towns for the last mile. And while she was saying that, I was thinking to myself about the UPS that I put in the Patreon, but the other commentator brought it up. The UPS is shedding the business with Amazon, so that's exactly why they're doing it. But remember, that last mile, they're going to be using drones. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have the Treasury is going to keep the auction steady. And when we got those GDP numbers, yield rates started to move up, and then we clearly saw the manipulation. And guys, they're going to continue on manipulating these yields because that 10, that 20, that 30 will definitely rise on them, and eventually it's going to rise because this dollar is going to keep getting weaker. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have the consumer is hurting. The only thing you have to do is also look at these new ADP numbers, and we know the employment numbers are definitely not correct. They only add you if you're in the system. If you dropped out of the system, you're not getting unemployment benefits, you're not even counted. And we know a lot of people are working 2 and 3 jobs just to make ends meet. And Walmart and TJ Maxx will be hurt by China. And it's not about price, guys. If China is not sending the goods, the item is not going to be there. We all go shopping. You used to could see something, come back, and get it later. It's no longer the case. And when it comes to TJ Maxx, they used to carry all the polo for kids. That polo is no longer there. That cheap polo is not coming back. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. And we have NVIDIA's CEO had to catch herself because China is way ahead of the United States. And that's because we gave them the technology. And you can go all the way back to the 80s. And guys, you know, I've done plenty of videos from you hearing it from the horse's mouth. Remember, the crypto teacher doesn't talk about any conspiracy theories. I give you the facts. I let you hear it from the horse's mouth. And the crypto teacher gives you the truth, nothing but the truth. Yes, the truth hurts, but it sets you free. And because I give you the truth, you're going to hate me. But remember, I'm just a watchman on the wall. And don't forget, my people perish from a lack of knowledge because they reject it. It's right at their fingertips, but they stay distracted on things that don't matter. But by the time they wake up, this fourth industrial revolution will be here. And remember, the crypto teacher told you. Because he knows, when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
These tariffs are much, much larger than anything we've seen since the Great Depression. So our statistical models don't have this kind of foreign shock in the data. So I think they're going to, and the other issue is what you highlighted in the opening, which was it's a problem both for unemployment and inflation. And that makes it more difficult for the Fed. The Fed is going to be concerned that the inflation numbers are already up and it's before the full impact of the tariffs. And if we start seeing inflation rates at 3.5% or 4%, which given, depending on where the tariffs end up, at least the reported data over the course of this year could get that high, that's going to make it difficult for the Fed to be reacting preemptively to any concerns they have about growing recession concerns. So it's a very awkward position for the Fed to be in. And I think they're going to move relatively slowly until it's apparent exactly what the inflation employment shocks are. I think a lot of people are also concerned about rising unemployment, and the ADP report, as you highlighted, was relatively weak. So I think there's going to be growing concern as we get into the summer that we are likely to see a recession. A lot of economists are beginning to predict that, and I think there is a chance, unless the administration pulls back on its tariff policy, that we will see some pretty slow growth and continued problems in the hard data as we get into the summer.
Hey, John, we're just getting news that Amazon is going to be investing $4 billion in small towns across the U.S., they say, to expand their last mile delivery network. In a press release that just came out here, the SVP of Worldwide Operations saying the investment is going to be creating local jobs in small towns across the U.S. They say here about 100,000 jobs, new jobs estimated. They talk about driving opportunities, flexible positions, and these are zip codes outside of sort of the big cities. They talk about Alaska and Texas and Arkansas in here. The context, guys, I would say, is key. Amazon, if you remember this week, got on the wrong side of the White House. We had that back and forth about reports about pricing around tariffs, the White House calling Amazon hostile, and then we had the call with President Trump and founder Jeff Bezos. Here we are a day later with this Amazon announcement around investing in America. It also comes as we await a press conference from President Trump about investing in America. So $4 billion total investing in the U.S. amid some of the back and forth with the White House, I would say, this week.
I would just also add, it also comes as UPS continues to shed its business with Amazon, something they talked more about yesterday in their own earnings as well. So in terms of delivery network and building out that last mile, perhaps in light of that dynamic too.
And earnings tomorrow. Amazon's going to report earnings, and that delivery logistics network is key. They want to keep offering Prime members fast delivery, regardless of where you are. That's been a huge part of the value proposition, and making it justified for people to want to keep paying that Prime subscription. So this is a big part of it and kind of fits into the big e-commerce picture, but might come up in earnings tomorrow. A lot to look forward to.
Just gotten Treasury's refunding plans for the coming quarter. They're planning to auction off $125 billion in securities. Now, that holds exactly in line with the past couple of quarters, so no surprises for the Treasury market here. But a few more of the numbers from this release. Treasury says it will be refunding about $94 billion, raising about $31 billion in new cash. The breakdown in tenors also remains the same as previous quarters, so that's $58 billion auction for the 3-year, $42 billion for the 10-year, and $25 billion for the 30-year. Now, one thing to flag here, Treasury also says in this release today that it believes it will be able to hold auction sizes steady for at least the next several quarters. That language has been in there for several quarters now, and it's a good sign for stability in the bond market. Treasury also says it believes it's well positioned to address any changes to the fiscal outlook, and that's even in spite of potential volatility as Congress considers what to do about the debt ceiling. Officials do say, though, that until the debt limit is suspended or increased, there will be what they call greater than normal variability in benchmark bill issuance and significant use, they say, of cash management bills to give them some flexibility. So keep an eye on volatility today, particularly in the longer end of the curve, but this should come mostly as welcome and unsurprising news.
Feels fragile because, like we were saying earlier, the fourth quarter was so different than the first quarter. First calendar quarter ended March 30th, and every week of April feels different than the last week.
So, Dana, that's fragile with an unemployment rate, as Steve said earlier, still not at historic lows, but reasonable. Mm-hmm. Job numbers this week, delinquency rates have been on the rise. You said fragile. Can Walmart and TJX, two names specifically, can they continue to win in this environment?
I think they can continue to win. You know why? Because they have the higher income consumer who will trade down. They have the benefit, particularly of TJ, of being the umbrella of prices. Someone else is always higher than them. They price lower, and they're going to get good brands out there. People talk about, is there going to be inventory available? There's always inventory available for off-pricers. Through all different times of change, you've seen the inventory there.
So it should enable us to accelerate the development of AI, enable us to compete on a global stage.
Thanks, everybody. Can I just one more? How far behind do you think China is?
China is not behind.
Anybody who's ahead of you?
China's right behind us. I mean, we're very, very close. But remember, this is a long-term. This is an infinite race. There's no, in the world of life, there's no 2-minute. End of the quarter, there's no such thing, and so we're going to compete for a long time. And just remember that this is a country with great will, and they have great technical capabilities. 50% of the world's AI researchers are Chinese, and so this is an industry that we will have to compete for.
We're going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of a huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting at more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told its members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets.
Now, it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy, and when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Crypto Teacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Seaver, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what are they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know, I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York from COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.